Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hub United. It's me, Eric, and today I've got Tesh with me. We're going to be talking about Sancho and Donny, what we think is going to happen to them, or where we think they're going to be, and come January or something like that. But before we go on today, just to let you know that today's episode is being sponsored by Thanos Collection. The link will be in the description below. Visit Thanos Collection for all female outwear, your outdoor pool party, even wedding and an anniversary. You could get something for any occasion at Thanos Collection. Like I said, the links will be in the description below. Oh, gents, don't forget, gents too. You could actually go on Thanos Collection and do some shopping for your missus, for your sisters, for your mom, for your female friends, also for your boss. Thanos Collection got you covered. Right, let's jump into today's show. Yo, Tesh, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Excellent. Bit of a hectic week, but nothing to complain about. Though I think the
Oh,
only issue here is United.
oh, that's true. We all, as a Manchester United fan, we all can actually um feel it. The club is it's what the media make of the club. We know the club is in a state where we can't even explain. We just want the Glazers out and all of that. But the media right now are beginning to spin so much negativity and put it on the club. Is that a good thing in terms of how prospective buyers would see the club? It's a discussion for another day. Right, we're gonna jump into the meat of today. Sancho and Donny. First, I'm gonna have to. What's your take on Donny? Bearing in mind that the Turkish window is still open, I think for another 8 days, 8 to 10 days. So, what do you make of the old Donny situation from when he first came to the club and back now down to this current day and time? What do you think? What's your take on Donny?
Donny again. I take on Donny. I loved Donny before he came to United. Donny is a fantastic player. Or let's say used to be a fantastic player. I believe
When
the
you say
tech.
used to be a tough aspect, you don't think it is now? He is now.
No, I know. I think the technique is still there. He still has the ability. It's more so Donny is a system player. All right. And I think it was the wrong choice for him to come to a club, or the wrong timing per se to come to a club whereby they had no system. One, number two, they're basically they're still going through a very rough patch, and in that we're going through um, a rough time per se.
But sorry to cut you, but one can argue that the time he came in, we weren't doing too bad because remember we just finished third. I think we yeah we just finished third or we finished second, I believe.
Again, like I mentioned, his style of play doesn't suit United. Don is a player that plays intricate passes in tight corners, pockets. That's how he plays. United, we don't play like that. One would say United under Social was basically um, vibes. They'll say it's vibes.
Vibes
No
and inshallah by the grace of God.
exactly. So vibes, right? No tactics. No.
But I beg to differ on that ground. The vibes, just no tactics. We won games.
No, again, that's why I'm saying like we won games. but
Mm-hmm.
it can't take from the fact that we didn't have a defined system of play. One could argue our style of play then was counter attack. But now going back to Donny, right? Donny came to the club. The coach struggled to find a place for Donny in the club, knowing I believe Solskjaer at that time wanted Jack Grealish and um uh what do you call it? What do you call it? The brains of United at that time.
Oh, His Royal
And
Majesty
yes,
Ed Woodward the
um,
Third,
Ed
first of
Woodward.
his kind.
Ed Woodward thought it's a good idea to bring in Donny to the club, and in that, Solskjaer had no way to integrate. Although Solskjaer tried to integrate him into the club, one would argue could have given a bit of time playing in the Bruno role, basically rotating with Bruno. But Bruno was so pivotal at that time that you can't take a chance of perhaps of putting someone else there in the team. So Donny struggled with one again, system of play, physicality as well, also impacted uh, Donny, and lastly injuries. Now one was I was thinking Ten Hag coming to United
Yeah,
would
I was gonna ask you that one. Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking Ten Hag would resurrect and Donny's career. But in that though, Ten Hag coming to United, which he made clear, I think in probably a month ago or some weeks ago in his press conference, stating he always played different style of football in every team he went to, from Utrecht
Utrecht, yeah.
to Ajax, and now in United. So basically, while we were expecting Ten Hag to play that that
The
um,
IS kind of
the ISM kind of
style of
play,
play, yeah.
right? Style of play, more like the Barcelona style of play. It's made it clear, no, he has basically, he comes in and see what he has and use what he has to create a style of play. And in that, with what he's doing, Donny doesn't fit into um, that
Do you, do you put that down to just physicality of the Premier League, or you put it to the fact that he's he's not been able to get a good run of games? Because I remember was it back in he signed for in 2020, right? Yeah, I remember back in 2021 or 2020, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
where I was hoping to see him play some games because Pogba was injured and he too got an injury at the same time. It so happened coincidentally that when Pogba was coming back, was ready and fit from the injury, that was the same time Donny was coming back. So
So
could you put is not being able to have some game time under Eric Ten Hag as down to unavailability or the physical requirement of the league?
several things has worked in hasn't worked in the favor of Donny, being injury, right? Being
Mhm.
what they call not giving enough game time to kind of run of games to adapt himself to that to the level of the Premier League. So several things have worked in basically hasn't worked in his favor.
Favor, yeah.
I believe with Donny's what they call technique with his intelligence. I believe if Donny was given a run of games, honestly, if Donny was given a run of games, Donny would have adapted to the Premier League.
Okay.
He's not the quickest kind of player. He's not the fastest or not the strongest, but I think he'll adapt. If a Donny had gone to Man City, right?
Okay.
I believe with the training Pep gives, with
Hmm.
the instructions Pep gives, right? Donny would have probably at least done better compared to what he's currently doing at United.
Okay. So, one final question on that, Donny. Uh, what do you make of is he not being called included in the UEFA Champions League list, as well as what do you think? What's the future? Do you see him going past this season? Do you see him still a United player come the end of this current season?
Honestly, I want to go back to my previous thoughts. my previous what I call comment when I mentioned um, regarding Donny not Donny what I call it, not giving a run of games to kind
Yeah,
of stamp his feet, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some players do it on the instant. Some players can come in and like Bruno, they can do it. Some players need time. So I
Yeah.
know people the viewers will argue, oh, Ganacho they need time, X they need time. Some players need time. An example would be what they called Casemiro. He needs a bit of like what they call warm up period to kind of get into the
No, but two
rhythm.
years
But
ain't
again, but
2 years
2 years
isn't a
in,
warm up period.
no, 2 years in, but he hasn't. If you look at Donny, he hasn't got consistency. I can probably say, I'm not. I don't know the stats, but he hasn't started a lot of game for United.
But that was
Night
why I asked you, could it be down to the physical requirement of the league, or just the his
again, physical,
unavailability due to
physical.
injury? Because remember, he went to Everton. He's gone. He did go to Everton. From my own understanding, watching him at Everton, it didn't really cut it out because of the physical requirement of the league.
So
Maybe at an Everton, you need to be more physical. Even the time he went there, they were struggling for relegation, right? So all of this could just see.
do you know? Do also in Everton, you recall it was also injured, right?
Yeah, but
So
yeah.
again, so that's what I mentioned. Injury hasn't been. He has basically almost everything worked against him. And like I mentioned, right, I believe Donny working in the Premier League will need a very concrete and defined system where he can function, right, where he knows his role and he can function in that system. You know, this is a player that was once in the Ballon d'Or list,
Hmm.
top 30. It wasn't just a cameo for Donny. He was doing it over and over, right? So I can guarantee you, if what's his name, Frankie, came to United under Social, we could probably see he would struggle as well because
Yeah, but I understand that I understand, but okay, let's. So what do you make? Do you say you see him?
so again to go to I
What's
think
what's the future like from your point of view? What's the future like for Donny in terms of?
what the future like. Yeah, it's I believe Donny will have to leave United. Ten Hag not putting him in the Champions League
List?
squad is basically a clear indication that you are not part of my plans. And Donny needs to go find a team where he could play. I know he had several. He had, I think, FC Lorient from the French league. He had
French league.
French league. I think he didn't want to go there. Went back late, and basically they declined it. So, like you mentioned, the Turkish league is still open. I would say Donny needs to go play football just for himself to get back into the national team, the Dutch national team. I was thinking Donny was going to go back to Holland to kind of play in either Ajax or one of the teams there, but Donny needs to get back playing football. And for me, I'll if I'm to advise Donny, he should go to the Turkish league.
Okay, speaking about players not being in the manager's plan for the season, what do you make about Sancho's? I know we spoke about it in our last show where we talked about the whole uh, thing that happened. The manager
Yeah.
coming out to say the reason why I didn't pick him, and Sancho immediately an hour after putting up a statement, which up until this minute, I believe he hasn't taken it down. Right. So, what do you what do you make of all the media noises? The media noise that has been happening. Sorry, the media noise that has been happening. What do you make about all of that?
Yeah, for me, again, 2 points, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in our last video,
Hmm.
but I
Hmm.
said Tenag could have probably, and that's up to Tenag. He's in his right to say what he said, but to avoid the scrutiny and probably the extra attention to the player, because we know United fans are basically very reactive fans. So he could probably have worded that a bit differently, whereby it um, doesn't really I won't say call out because it wasn't calling out. It was basically just saying what is true. But again, for me, I probably worded that a bit differently. More so, I have him for wingers. We have lots of game, and we have lots of game. And again, I had to pick a team for this week, and Sancho was a part of that same period. If anyone wants to make of
So,
it what they want to make of it,
mhm.
let them go ahead. That would not prompt Sancho to go and post anything. That's what I think. People will still write on Twitter to gain interaction, regardless of what he says. But in that, taking out that bit of that piece of him not performing in training would have probably, not put the attention like he's doing now on United. If he
Okay,
said
let me
anything
so
is
let me pause you there right there. All right,
mm,
let me just read out this quote from. Let me just read out this quote from one of our legends, right?
mm,
In the person of Ryan Giggs. Now,
mm,
Ryan Giggs said this, right? He said when he came to the club, he's talking on Sancho now. He said when he came to the club, I was a fan, right? I thought he would progress, meaning there was something there that was a little bit quote unquote a red flag when he says I thought he would progress, which he didn't really do. Now Ten Hag tried him in different positions, gave him time to get back into shape. For me, calling him out publicly is probably the last attempt to get the best out of Sancho. What do you make about that comment from Ryan Giggs?
going again to Ryan Giggs' comment, right? I it still goes back to my point, right? Calling out the player to get the best out of him, right? Probably again saying Sancho hasn't played in multiple position, not being up to it. You can basically tell a player you're not part of my plans without them. Call them out, like I believe Ten Hag had done with Donny. If Sancho was omitted from the Champions League team, the media will also pick on it. So again, it goes back to my point. Ten Hag could probably have worded it a bit differently to kind of a broader statement as opposed to what I call being direct at Sancho. Now Ten Hag is saying it's right to say what he said. I'm just saying to reduce the what they call the attention on the player and the club.
I don't think
And
I can hear you.
so on my last thought before we had a bit break there, my last thought, Ten Hag is right to call out to um, say what he said, say what he said, the truth. But I think that basically spurred up um, Sancho to kind of defend himself, thinking was basically being attacked. Sancho is in his wrong to have put a statement. If I were Sancho, I'll basically just keep quiet. Next to a training section, ask the gaffer what I did wrong in training, what could I have done better, and also ask him to give me at least more chance. And I'll basically all I need to do is work harder and prove myself to a team. No amount of words I say on Twitter or anywhere changes my performance. I can only change my performance by working hard.
Okay, one final note on the Sancho, right? On the Sancho thing. Do you believe there's do you see a way back for him into this team?
I see 100%. I see a way back for Sancho into the team. I believe there's a way back, and it has to do with him and Ten Hag meeting at what I call a point. And when I say way back, I mean way back into the team, though, as in playing for the team. Now he will have to apologize to Ten Hag and the team. One, number two, he'll have to take down his pinned tweet he has on X and also state write an apology to the fans as well. Reason I say write an apology to the fans is more so they know he has apologized to the manager, he has apologized to the players and the club, and they know okay, everyone is on the same page now. Ten Hag is not within his own right to say, okay, you know what, I want to take you back, or I don't want to. But I believe with Ten Hag, I know he seems as like an empathetic person. So I believe if Sancho is sincere and does like these things I mentioned, Ten Hag will certainly take it back. But
Okay,
if his
okay,
performance continues to decline, it will be out of the team. He will need to keep that level up to play consistently.
okay. Finally, give your take on what do you make about the like I said the media throwing stuff at the club and just in terms of we know there's a lot going on in Manchester United. We have got the
Yes.
Anthony, which I've said I'm not going to talk about until
Yeah.
there's something to talk about, right? Do, the club, we already know the sale is happening. The sale would happen, right? I believe it would happen because looking at the way the club is,
Mm-hmm.
that's the way the sale is not happening. Because except the Glazers wants to now put hands in their own pocket to splash the cash, I don't
Mm-hmm.
see any reason why they wouldn't sell the club. No, but with statements like I don't know if you saw Rob Dawson, one of Rob Dawson's tweet when he was talking about going after the Sancho's personality in terms of a source said, oh, it could be introverted and extroverted and all of that, what those stuff. Like, what do you make of that? Now, Mark, today I saw a tweet from Mark Ogden talking about how the sources from the dressing room, they applaud, they're in line with what Tenak did at the end of that. However, they they don't find what Sancho did. Didn't come to them as a surprise, right? It's more like they expect he's the kind of, he has that kind of personality. Why do you think they're talking about his personality? Do you think the club is giving them the go ahead to talk about this guy's personality when clearly it wasn't a personality um issue in the first place? It was simply about performance wise and training. What do you make about the media houses just doing what they're doing just to create chaos?
So again, there are multiple layers to that question, though. So two pieces, though. The first piece is more so the club might be putting out PR statements to kind of depict, okay, a certain behavior Sancho shows at what I call the team, trying to again protect any backlash coming to the manager Ten Hag, in that protecting the club. That's one. Number two, again, which I also think it's a case, using the team to gain interaction on a platform, it being any platform. So I think that's what's happening. They are milking the story to get interaction over and over again. I mentioned initially, I said if Sancho was Donny and Sancho was taken off the Champions League squad, it will be a recurrent topic over and over again. But since it's Donny, it's not that what you call,
Oh,
doesn't have that big
you make a point
presence.
there. I
Yeah,
haven't seen any write up about anybody to writing
uh,
anything about Donny.
but
Yeah, you're right.
so it again, it's a Sancho. He has a big brand. It is United, a big brand. With both brands, we can basically milk it and get some what they call interactions and revenue from it. But I think though, there's also a level of truth with the club putting our stuff out there to protect the manager. Is that right or wrong? I believe I'll say it's wrong. When we look at a player, we look at the players for what they do. Their personal life should be out of it. They say
Hmm.
sometimes it's introverted, it's
Hmm.
extroverted, it's quiet, it's calm. They are just describing a normal human being,
Hmm.
which basically they can be quiet today and they can be happy tomorrow. Depends what's happening in their life.
Okay, guys, we've come to the end of today's show. Don't forget to visit Tano's collection. The link, like I said earlier, it's gonna be in the description below. Visit Tano's collections, got you covered for all your female wear, from the pool party wear, the anniversary to the date and all of that. So just visit the links in the video description down below. And also want to thank Tano's collection for sponsoring us today. Okay, guys, don't forget to, before we leave, don't forget to like,
Share
share,
and
subscribe
subscribe.
to this channel. We just a young channel trying to grow. We talk everything Manchester United, as you can see. We're strong, diehard fan of Manchester United. So please give us a like. Also, give us your criticism. Give us, if you
Feedback.
think, your feedback. We will be so excited and we'll be glad and appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, guys. Until we see you next time, it's peace, love, and light for me. Blaze us out.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.